What the heck was that? What's up, Sooner Nation, and welcome to another edition of the WhackoReview Podcast, where we go over all things OU football coming out of the weekend. I'm Steve Curtis, the voice behind Wacko Sooners. And today, the Oklahoma Sooners are now 6-2 in the 2025 season after getting beat by Ole Miss in every aspect of the game. They fall into the 18th team in the AP poll, and we've got plenty to dive into, reviewing Oklahoma's disappointing loss here on Saturday, where it all went wrong, and what we need to do about it moving forward, what we need to do to correct it. We're going to break it all down right here on Wacko Sooners. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. Remember, go follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners, for live news updates, game highlights, and of course a few memes and reels to keep it lighthearted and fun, even though our boys love to make that hard on us these days. So go hit those follows so you're always in the Wacko loop. So I don't even know how I want to put this. This, in a lot of ways, was worse than the loss to Texas a couple of weeks ago because we were actually in this. We had plenty of opportunities to win it. I think ultimately both losses on the schedule that we've had up to this point could have, should have won those games. And that's not things didn't go our way, blah, blah, blah. We had the talent to do so, but fell short because of two key things: quarterback and coaching. And we will get into that here in the second and third segments. But first off, let's just kind of review the game, just broad strokes, just numbers wise. So if you were to tell me, if I had not gone to the game on Saturday, if I had not been in Norman, if I had not even watched it on TV, listened on the radio, nothing. Imagine I was living under a rock over the course of the weekend. And you tell me what we know about this, with what we know about this defense. If you tell me that Oklahoma had 359 total yards, 223 pass, 136 rushing, 6 yards per play, 14 first downs, 4 of 14 on third, and 1 of 2 on fourth, with only 3 sacks, and you ask me who I think would have won the game, Ole Miss or Oklahoma, I'd say probably Oklahoma. And the only misgiving I would have is that third down stat, 4 of 14. But I'd feel pretty confident in saying that Oklahoma would have won that game, even with a 1 fumble on special teams, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But then, if you were to then tell me, and that Oklahoma scored 26 points, if you also said that, yeah, I believe you. Oklahoma probably wins that game. But then you tell me how Ole Miss did stat-wise on offense, which is indicative of how defense played. 431 total yards, 315 passing, 116 rushing. That one's not terribly scary. 5 yards per play, 21 first downs, 9 of 21 on third, 2 of 3 on fourth, no turnovers, 1 sack. If you give me both offensive stat sheets and tell me who I think won the game, yeah, Ole Miss won that game. Absolutely. Abso-frickin-lutely. And frankly, it should have been a lot worse given these discrepancies in numbers. It really should have been a lot worse. And as it has been all across college football, officiating was interesting. But again, OU should have played to a point where it didn't matter. And ultimately, it wouldn't have mattered either way because we just did not come to play as a full complementary unit. So I'm just saying that officiating was interesting. I'm not whining like Auburn fans. We could have won that game if officiating was different. No, we wouldn't have. Yeah, it was rough, guys. As for a breakdown of the offense as a whole, Mateer is not Superman. He is not the Superman that single-handedly won us the Auburn game. He's not the Superman that helped us take full control. He's not a one-man offense like he was against Michigan. Auburn, he was not one man, okay? It was 1.5 men, him and Isaiah Satania with that 30-yard bomb on that final drive to go win the game. And then the defense helped him out. Because so far, the two big wins that we had to start the season, Michigan and Auburn, it was John Mateer and the defense. That's not always going to be enough, as we clearly saw on Saturday. So John was 17 of 31, 54.8% completion, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, a 76-yard touchdown by Isaiah Satania. It was a short 10, 15-yard pass, and then Satania did the rest with his legs. Then here's the puzzling part, and we'll get into that, why it's extra puzzling here in a second. 13 carries for 17 yards by John Mateer. So the QB run is not working. It is not working at all. I get it. He's athletic. He can do it, but it's not working. So scrap that. Go with your running backs, because they actually looked pretty solid, or at least one of them did. One had an off day. One was on fire, and we will get into my thoughts about that. My goodness, we will get into my thoughts about that. But John, when he's in the pocket, he drifts back a lot, and a lot of that can be chalked up to he doesn't trust the offensive line, which means the offensive line isn't doing all it needs to. But it played fairly adequately. The 3 sacks that John took, all on him trying to make too much stuff happen, and he slipped in the mud on one because he was thinking too much. Instead, he had the whole left side of the field. If he just turned on the gas, he would have beat the linebacker to the outside and had 10, 15 yards. But instead, he tried to juke him. No, just commit to stuff. If you're going to run it, run it. Don't stop and think, ooh, maybe this, maybe that. Sometimes a play to make is not always there. Just commit to something. And when he does step into the pocket, he looks uncomfortable, and he's not looking for a receiver. He's got one receiver in mind, usually Isaiah Satania. But he's thinking about, how am I going to get out of the pocket, instead of how am I just going to throw the ball. Stop looking for a way for you to get out. Look for a way to get the ball out. And he locks in on one guy. He wasn't making reads. He's forgotten that there's a middle of the field and that Jaren Kanak is out there somewhere. He's forgotten that. Kanak had, I believe, only 1 reception, which is malpractice by the quarterback. He's always looking to the outside on these short 5-7 yard gains, if that. And Jaren Kanak and Deion Burks, they're not getting enough touches. Javonte Gibson's not getting enough touches. It's the John Mateer, Isaiah Satania show. And Ben Arbuckle is letting it happen that way. No, Ben Arbuckle is calling a lot of those pass plays. It's a coaching malpractice and a quarterback malpractice. Because let's actually look at the run game here. Between the 2 running backs that played, Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson, 15 carries for 119 yards. Torrey got the majority of the touches early in the first half, and he had 6 carries for 10 yards, and was the victim of that boneheaded safety. What are you doing when the line of scrimmage is on your own 3 and you're starting backed up in the end zone? Are you going to run an outside zone and try to beat them? Run it up the middle, get 1 to 3 yards, and just keep doing that to get yourself out, and then try the outside zone when you're not going to take a safety or risk taking a safety. So that was a boneheaded call by Arbuckle there. And Torrey loves making his little cuts, and that's what he's good at. He's quick. He's got a great twitch. He's really patient. Got great explosive speed. But the mud is not going to let you do that the way you need to. So Torrey wasn't having a great day. So what does Arbuckle do to rectify that? Late in the first half, they give Xavier Robinson a singular carry, and he got 1 for 3 yards. Now, here's where the fun comes in, and this is what's going to get me really riled up. The second half, Xavier Robinson had 106 yards. Actually, no, practically just the third quarter, because he only had, I believe, 2 touches and 2 carries. Or no, two touches / carries, 8 yards in the fourth quarter. So then that would be what, 103, 106. Yeah, he had 98 yards in the third quarter off of 6 carries. Now, his second carry of the game was a 65-yard touchdown run. But then the rest of his time playing, let's go through his carries throughout the game, okay? So he had the 3-yarder in the first half. Then he had 65, 3, 7, 9, 6, 8, 1, and then his final carry was a 7. This dude is 6'2", 235 pounds. Why the heck are we not running him like a freaking freight train down the gut? All right? Why are we not just saying, X, take the ball, bowl ball somebody? Because he is a freaking bowling ball. I was looking at my buddy who I took with me to the game, and I said, that dude's our bowling ball. And I was screaming the whole game, Arbuckle, hand the ball off. X is making it work. Run the ball. We found a run game last week. And South Carolina's run defense is worse than Ole Miss's. I just don't understand why we didn't attack more on the ground to start. We really should have. And it should have been X from the start because he's just a big dude that's going to run downhill, and he falls forward every time. Every time. Every dang time. He just goes right at it and he runs over people. And I know that I've given DeMarco Murray and the running backs a lot of crap this season. And X has come out against Texas. He was injured a little bit earlier this season. X comes out in the Texas game, performs a little bit, not great. South Carolina, he balls out. And Saturday against Ole Miss, he went crazy. So I'm not even mad at DeMarco for this. I know that I'm normally the DeMarco Murray hate club, but there's no hate on DeMarco right now because Torrey and X are looking fantastic. Jaden Ott's terrible, we know. Javonte Barnes is injured. Taylor Tatum. So I can't be mad at DeMarco for this because one of his running backs was incredibly productive when given the opportunity. Who is in charge of giving Xavier Robinson the opportunity and calling run plays for Xavier Robinson? Ben Arbuckle, our wonderful OC that we went and handpicked out of Washington State to bring his star quarterback with him. And they are just holding on to this ride or die by Mateer, and it's not going to work because Arbuckle called run plays 47% of the time, passed it 53% of the time. We had 60 snaps throughout the whole game, 28 run plays, 32 pass plays. You need to be running now that Mateer is having issues, you need to run the ball 60% of the time or more because Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock are doing really well, and the offensive line is showing life when it comes to the run game. They figured it out against South Carolina, and they were doing well on Saturday, especially with Ryan Foje, true freshman coming in at right tackle, only having 2 days to prep for it. I was actually really impressed. Michael Fasusi, another freshman at left tackle, he got beat a couple times, and you'd see it kind of get to his head. Didn't play a great game, but we were still able to run the ball. When we gave it to X, we were able to run. And coaching malpractice by Ben Arbuckle, absolutely, for making this a pass-heavy game when you didn't need to. The old adage of run it until they stop it. Why not live by that? Come on, man. The refusing to run the ball, there was no reason for it. I was tweeting that throughout the whole game there at Memorial Stadium, just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, you get domination with X in the third quarter to take the lead, and then you forget that the run exists and you abandon it. And you get the ball back. You're down by 5 with 5 minutes left in the game, and you decide, pass. You have 5 minutes. Run the clock down by running the ball, because remember, had a massive 9-minute drive against Michigan with your O-line a little bit more banged up than it is, and Foje actually doing quite well at right tackle. You had a long sustained drive where you just ran out the clock, and then kicked the field goal to seal the win against Michigan. You had 5 minutes against an Ole Miss defensive line that is not as good as Michigan's. Why didn't you do that here? Because we were down 5 points, or maybe it was 8 points at that time. But point is, it was still a one-score game. You take the time, you go down, you get in there, you get a touchdown. You either tie the game if it was Ole Miss up by 8, or you get the lead with 7, since if they had been up by 5, and you either go to overtime or you win the game. Instead, it's pass. They get the ball back. We force a stop. Or no. Then they take the lead or keep the lead. And then the Isaiah Satania fumble. What are you doing, man? You had a lane down the sideline for another 5 to 15 yards somewhere in there. You could have gotten more, but instead you cut inside and you jump over something that's not even there. You've got 2 guys coming in. You see that they're probably going to dive to get your legs. But just run straight, hold on to the ball, 2 hands in those wet, slippery conditions, and just go down and keep it. I don't care that you had the 76-yard touchdown pass there early in the game. You sold it. Or you further sold it, because there were plenty of other opportunities where it was sold. But yeah, selling out on the run game, just not committing to it and avoiding it like the plague, not okay. Just not good. Not good. And I think the O-line actually played a fairly good game. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it was not the primary crux of the game. The crux of the game was coaching in terms of calling running back specific plays, because Mateer had 13 carries and it wasn't working. X had 9 carries and it worked. Torrey wasn't working great, but that's fine. That's why you have 2 different running backs that are good at 2 different things. Now, as for the defense, we will run down Ole Miss's drive sheet real quick. 47 yards, field goal. 75, touchdown. 27, punt. 18 yards, punt. 47 yards, field goal. 49 yards, touchdown. -1 yard, turnover on downs. That was a gift. And we'll get to that here in a second. Then 63 yards, field goal. 2 yards, punt. 75 yards, touchdown. 5 yards, punt. 33 yards, field goal. 6 yards, punt. And then the end of the game. That -1 yard drive and then turnover on downs, that was a freaking gift. The defense gives the offense the ball on Ole Miss's 15. You are 15 yards from the end zone. And you can't do anything. You go 3 and out and kick a field goal. What? You pass it, you kick the field goal. You didn't run it once. Why not? Are you kidding me? No. And then as for defense, they were just abysmal in tackling. Could not get off the field on 3rd and 4th down. Could not. 14 tackles for loss. But then only got 1 sack by Marvin Jones. The play was overall just so inconsistent. And I think some of that had to do with BV having such a fixed identity of this defense is aggressive, this defense is tough, this defense is blue collar. We're going to take the fight to them and make them play our kind of a game. Yes, but when you're on a rainy and muddy field, you're going to slip when you're playing that aggressive. All Ole Miss's offensive line had to do was just sit there, let the OU defense come to them, take it, maybe step back a bit. OU's D-line would fall forward, and then Chambliss would have time, or Kawan Lacey would have time to get around. Yeah. Played too aggressive for the conditions, did not cater enough to our opponents either. I think BV got out-coached by Lane Kiffin calling the plays there. Kiffin had a really, really good game plan, and it's hard to be mad at that. He played with tempo, which is something BV defenses can't do great against because they love having the perfect play dialed up to shut you down everywhere. But often you will play an offense that's so good, like Ole Miss's offense, and Ole Miss's offense is fantastic. You will play an opponent where you can't live and die by, we're going to have the perfect thing to combat it. No, that's not how this works. Linebackers were slipping in coverage a lot because of the conditions as well. Just blowing everything, blowing coverage everywhere. Wide receivers got out everywhere. The DBs got beat a lot. We need Gentry Williams back quickly, because Eli Bone and Cortland Guillory, I get it, they're both fantastic, but they're young. Cortland's young. He still played phenomenally. I think he played phenomenal. And Eli's just too small. I would rather have someone of Cortland Guillory's size, but also his youth and inexperience, than have an incredible corner that is 5'9". Yeah, defense had a very bad day by all standards. The offense shouldn't have to go score 30-plus to go win games. They shouldn't. Absolutely not. And defense got a couple big stops there, especially there in the third quarter after the X-Rob 65-yard touchdown and then his other touchdown there in the third quarter, a 9-yard run. Defense made some stops, and it was like, okay, we took the lead. We were still definitely in contention for this game. And just they couldn't keep it together. Offense couldn't be consistent either. I still blame that on the run game not being a major feature. But, yeah, just rough. All right, so we've talked a bit, well, a fair amount, I guess, about the coaching malpractice, but we're really going to focus it here, and it's probably going to be some repetition, but it really got to drive this home here. Ben Arbuckle cannot ride or die by John Mateer. He can't. It's not going to work that way. He is not a magician, let alone a healthy one. His hand is still not back to what it was, and he's in his own head. He doesn't want to risk getting injured again, and he's starting to look a little bit like Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold with more guts, but a little bit, he's having trouble making smart decisions. And it's not good. He's a good quarterback. He is a good college quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But he's not the Messiah golden son that a lot of us, and I say us because I was very high on him early, was going to be the next, I wasn't openly making the Baker comparisons. I said there were some similarities. But he's not going to go make every single play every single time. And right now it's getting worse because he's getting in his own head. And Arbuckle needs to figure out, Arbuckle and John Kuzieski, quarterback's coach, need to figure out how to get him to calm down and play the game in a more simplified fashion. He's overcomplicating it in his mind. And this isn't hate on John, I promise. It's not. It's just an objective review of what's going on right now. But Arbuckle can't expect John to go win the game by himself. He can't do it. And that's okay, because you don't want a offense that hinges on a singular player. You want a fully functional, dynamic offense, which we have the capacity to have if Ben Arbuckle would run the ball more. Because right now, defenses all over the place are able to sit back and look, because we were thinking this versus Illinois State and early in the season. We didn't have a great run game early in the year. And since then, defenses have been able to say, they're going to pass, they're going to pass, they're going to pass. We don't really have to worry about the run too much. South Carolina got rocked by our run game. Ole Miss was getting rocked by a run game. We still outrushed them throughout the entirety of the game, and most of that came through the third quarter with Xavier Robinson. But we need to run it more. Absolutely. And it is on Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator, for not calling a better balanced or run-heavy offense, because the run was working and the pass wasn't. Don't be so dang proud and stubborn that you're going to die on Bunker Hill of a pass game. And scrap the QB run entirely. Scrap it. John Mateer is there to pass the ball. And if he's able to break a sack and there's no one to hand it off to, or if there is actually nothing to pass it to, then he can run. But John was missing reads all over the field. On one of those fourth downs, you have Giovanni Gibson going out along the sideline, and you have Jaron Kanik going out. If you throw it to Jaron for 6 yards through the air, he's turning upfield and getting 10 more and getting that first down. And you also have time to go get the touchdown. But no, John locks in on Giovanni Gibson, doesn't look anywhere else, and heaves it, and it's inaccurate. He's missing stuff, and it's not great. Coach Kuz and Ben Arbuckle need to get that all together. Need to fix John up here. And John needs to figure out how to be more accurate right now. Because I bet you his hand still isn't 100%, but he's got to figure out how to clean it up. Because he had some great big bombs. That first big pass to Satania down the sideline where he placed it just perfectly right out in front of him and he got it and then got tackled. That was great. We needed more of that stuff. We haven't had big plays downfield like that most of the year. We had a couple early, but nothing too crazy. And again, the run game. The run game was where it was at, and we didn't use it. Didn't use it nearly enough. Not at all. And then now we talked about Venables getting out coached when it comes to defense. He played too much of his own game, did not cater to the opponent. Again, Kiffin's game plan was fantastic. I can't be so mad. I can't even be mad at Kiffin because Kiffin just coached a really good game. It was well done to go toe-to-toe with still, I think, one of the better defenses in the country. Absolutely. Did a great job. But Venables on defense, you can't be so perfectionistic that you're going to end up biting yourself in the behind. You need to say, okay, sometimes just, okay, it looks like they're going to pass it here. We're going to go, if we're going to go on a blitz, okay, fine. But the players are too focused on the fundamentals and the little things and not trying to make plays either. We've got 4 turnovers in 2 games. 4 turnovers in 2 games. That is killing us. We needed defensive points on Saturday to really spark some more life into this. Because we had the extra touchdown, the fans got right back into it. And then defense got 2 stops, fans got right back into it. But then we give up another score, and then it's like, yeah, we can't do it. So, need turnovers. Stop playing so focused on the fundamentals. Focus on fundamentals for sure, but if a play is there and you can punch the ball out, or you're going to go up and risk, the pass being completed, but you're going to try and get in there and get it, do it. Try and make stuff happen, because this team was ruling on turnovers last year. All right? Picked off Jalen Milroe 3 times. Strip sack on Garrett Nussmeier. A lot of turnovers the last couple of years. Great with turnovers. What's happened to that? I wish we had Billy Bowman back right now, because that man was a heat-seeking missile for the ball. And he was able to go find it. He was able to go get it. We need more of that. We need more turnovers. We need pick sixes now. And so that's the coaching malpractices just on the different sides of the ball. Special teams, actually, no. And what's with all the penalties everywhere? Everywhere. The late hit or roughing the passer, that was kind of stupid. If the second hit, I don't think it would have been called if Shambles hadn't gotten sandwiched by RMT behind him on accident. So I don't necessarily agree with that one. But offense is accumulating penalties like crazy. A lot of young guys with false starts. Sorry, Michael Fasusi, but it's just a fact of life. Special teams, penalties like crazy. Blocking the backs, all sorts of crap. Like, it's not going to work there, man. And on special teams, the fumble was stupid. And I know we talked about it already, but man, oh jeez. Yeah, that was hard to watch. Because I'm sitting there in the student section, I'm seeing him streak down the sidelines. It's like, yes, go. Don't mess it up. Then he messed it up. It's like, are you kidding? Come on. Now, we've talked about offense, defense, special teams, coaching issues. It's now head coaching time. Now, if you've listened to Wacko at all since we started this, or if you know me personally, I absolutely love Brent Venables. He is a man of incredible strength, passion, character, dedication, determination. He is the kind of guy you want as your head coach at the University of Oklahoma. And he was a big part of Oklahoma in the 2000s and the incredible success we had under Bob Stoops in the first half of his tenure, or the early majority of his tenure, actually. But right now, since Venables has taken over as head coach, the offense has been spiraling downwards every year. This offense is better than 2024, I agree. Excuse me. Voice is still a little bit sore from being at the game yesterday. But the offense has taken a massive step back in Venables' 4 years. 2022, we had Dylan Gabriel connecting with Marvin Mims, and then you also had Eric Gray. 2023, Dylan Gabriel with Drake Stoops, Nick Anderson, and Jaleel Farouk, and Gavin Sawchuk sprinkled in there in the back half of the year. Then 2024 is a nightmare. And then 2025, better in some respects. Or you have a lot of capacity there, but you're not able to put it together. And it seems like every time that OU is on the cusp of convincing the world of who we are and what we're capable of, or what they, since I'm not on the team, but you know what? I will say we. I'm a fan, okay? Big part of who I am. We always drop something. We always fall short somewhere in the Brent Venables era, and it's driving me crazy. I'm getting sick of defending the coaches and the team to other fans and the rest of the world. Because you have a good quarterback. You have pretty solid receivers. You have 2 good running backs. You have an O-line that is getting some stuff done for you. And you have a pretty dang good defense, a top 5 defense in the country in my mind. And you can't put it all together. BV is making critical administrative mistakes, especially where offense is concerned, because he's getting an OC and giving them the offense with no control. He's saying, this is your offense, you do your stuff. No, you can't be doing that anymore, because we get the nightmare that was Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley when you didn't touch it. We get the nightmare of Saturday, which was Ben Arbuckle not running it nearly as much as he should have been. If you control the ground and you control the clock, you win that game. And we had every capacity and opportunity and reason to be able to control that game on the ground, just Arbuckle refused to do it. Venables needs to get on Arbuckle and say, this is the down and distance. It's 1st and 10. I want you to get me to 2nd and 5 on the ground. Pick a play that's going to get you that. Great. Arbuckle's going to pick a run play that's going to get you to 2nd and 5. That's what Venables needs to do. Can't just say, Arbuckle, you do what you do. I'll focus on the defense. That's not how this is going to work. Cannot do that anymore. Cannot. Because there's zero reason that a program like Oklahoma, with the history, the tradition, and I know that a lot of people are going to laugh at that, but it is one of the more traditional blue-blooded, and I hate saying blue blood right now because we haven't been acting like one for the last several years since Bob Stoops left. We've not been a true blue blood program. But ultimately, you have the history, you have the tradition, you have the resources, you have the fan base. You get the recruits. And there's no reason we shouldn't be able to compete and put it together. There's no reason we should be losing games like this when we have every opportunity to win it, or every reason and expectation to be able to go and win it. And the Ben Arbuckle issues of Brent not controlling Arbuckle or telling Arbuckle, you work for me, this isn't just your offense, this is your offense under me as head coach and my overall vision for this. Because there were so many opportunities we had where we just kind of gave stuff away. The boneheaded safety with that stupid outside zone, that was dumb. That's 2 points. Then the 3 and out that the defense gave the offense on Ole Miss's 15, or the turnover on downs in Ole Miss's red zone, and then we have the 3 and out that we take a field goal for. That's a missed opportunity for 7 right there. So that's 9, right? Or yeah, plus 7 and then minus 2. So that would have been 32 to 33. That's OU 33, Ole Miss 32. Then a missed 2-point conversion, that could have been 35. And then a missed 4th and 2 that OU had late in the game, where you should have just done the cool 4th and short that Arbuckle called up against Texas, where you put in Jaden Jackson and David Stone, and then you just run X-Rob right behind them. And that could have changed the complexity of the game. And then, of course, the Isaiah Satania fumble. Those 5 moments, the safety, the red zone 3 and out, the 2-point conversion, the 4th and 2, and the special teams fumble, those 5 moments, if just 2 or 3 of those swing in OU's favor, the entire complexity of the game changes. And this isn't me coping or whining about it. This is me saying OU did not come to play to win on Saturday. They didn't. And if they did come to play to win, they would have turned some of those moments around and could have changed the game. And, yeah, it's really disappointing that they did not play well enough to win. So, all the haters out there, they're going to be in the comments going, oh, yeah, this guy's just coping. Wah, wah, wah. OU's just bad. Yeah, we didn't play well yesterday. We played bad. We did not play to win. We deserved to lose that game because we just didn't come to play in coaching and on defense and on offense. The whole thing was a mess. The only good thing that was going was Xavier Robinson. I think the way that the defense played, it was well enough to win the game had the offense been more efficient. Would have been pretty. Wouldn't have been nearly to the standard that Brent Venables and OU fans have come to expect out of his defenses. But your offense shouldn't have to go score 30 or more points to win a game, not with this defense. And it's impossible for us to get a full complimentary game. I mean, Michigan, we had a complimentary game. Auburn, it was somewhat complimentary. 9-10 sacks. And offense did go down and take a drive just to win the game. But if the defense is playing a step off, and remember, I think this is still a top 5 defense. This defense is incredibly talented. It's incredibly skillful. And this Ole Miss offense was probably the best it'll face all year. But if the defense is a step off, the offense needs to be able to step up and pick up the slack. Texas A&M has been doing that all year. All right? Shootout win versus Notre Dame. Defensive battle versus Auburn. Total domination against Florida. A shootout with Arkansas. And then domination versus LSU. That's 2 of each kind. Total domination on both sides of the ball. 2 shootouts where their defense isn't able to stop them very well and the offense has to go make something happen. And then a defensive masterclass and just slugfest versus Auburn, where it was a 16-10 win. Because Auburn's defense is actually kind of good, just their offense is terrible. Even though they did somehow manage to beat Arkansas this week. Auburn, Hugh Freeze, and Jackson Arnold finally got a conference win. They're 1-4 in the SEC now. Wow. But back to Texas A&M. This is Mike Elko's second year in College Station, and they're playing complementary football in multiple different facets. Defensive battles that are just grudge fest, slug fests, total domination on both sides, and offensive shootouts. Texas A&M is putting it all together on both sides of the ball every week. Or not necessarily every week, but they're able to put it together well enough on the other side of the ball if one side's having a deficiency. OU's not able to do that. They're not. Defense wasn't up where they needed to be, and offense couldn't compensate. Texas, offense wasn't able to do what it needed, and defense could not compensate. Almost happened against Auburn. Almost. We need a winning formula. We need a consistent winning formula. And for the first time, I'm going to talk openly about Brent Venables' future at Oklahoma and whether that needs to be questioned. He's been here for 3.5 years. End of 2025, it will have been 4 years in the Brent Venables era. If he finishes anything less than 8-4, I think we need to go find another head coach. This was a game you had to win in order to get to that 8-4, maybe 9-3, to where you felt good about Brent Venables moving forward, showing improvement. But he needs to put his hands in the cookie jar and control his offensive coordinator. You are the head coach, not just the defensive coordinator. Act like it. Control the offense. All right? Gotta figure that out. Gotta fix that. And prevent your guys from slipping in moments when they can't afford to. You can't. We need more of that Saban killer instinct type of stuff. And I'm not saying that would mean OU's going to go on a generational dynasty run over the course of 15 years like Alabama did. That's not what I'm expecting at all. I'm just saying they need that killer instinct where they don't step up. They don't let off the gas. They don't make as many mistakes, or they don't show up on certain days. Because Nick Saban guys, for a long time, last few years of his tenure, not so much, but they came up to kill. Killer instinct every day, every game. It was a foregone conclusion. You play Alabama, you're going to lose. So that's what we've got to say about coaching malpractices. To close out our third segment for the day, bounce back if we can do it. What's next? Saturday we go to Tennessee, 6:30 Central kickoff time in Knoxville at Neyland. Tennessee's ranked 14th. They're a 3.5-point favorite, and it's already skewed by Vegas 3 points for the home team. So really that's Tennessee by -0.5. Tennessee's defense does have some holes. All right, they let Kentucky score 34 on them on Saturday. So I'm hoping and praying that the field will be dry so the defense can play a little bit more aggressively like they like. And I hope that Venables will really look at that Tennessee offense and how Josh Heupel and Joey Aguilar, who leads the SEC in passing yards, mind you. I hope that Venables will cater more to his opponent, play a lot of his own game, call a lot of his own game, I should say, but make sure that you know what the offense on the other side of you is going to do, and you play to deal with that. Shut down what they do first. Fight what they give you first. Then slowly take over the game and make it yours. Because trying to play all your way from the outset against Ole Miss did not work. Take away what they like and then make it yours. Again, the secondary, I know I mentioned this earlier, we need Gentry Williams back. We need an older veteran presence there in the back, in the secondary. We need that back. I think the front seven's still fantastic. I think they will get after Joey Aguilar, but they need to step it up. I need R. Mason. It is about now. I wish that we had Danny Stutzman in the locker room still, because the leadership on the team is fantastic. Absolutely, R. Mason Thomas, Dominic Williams, Grayson Halton, Kip Lewis. And then you've also got Kobe McKenzie in there, Robert Spears-Jennings, Peyton Bowen, Gentry Williams. You've got great guys on that defense in those leadership roles. Absolutely. But you don't have a dog. You don't have the heart of a lion back there like you have with Danny Stutzman. And I wish we had Danny again this year to bring that team back and really rule that defensive side of the ball and really fire him up, because he was the mental and emotional heart of those 2023 and 2024 teams. We need to clean up our identity on offense when we go in Knoxville at Neyland next week. Heavy run game, Arbuckle. I'm telling you right now, tote the dang rock. Make X and Torrey the main point of the offense and have John be a part of it. But this offense needs to ride and die by Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock. Thank you for not putting Jaden Ott out on the field on Saturday. That's the one thing I'll give you. That was great. That bum needs to stay off the field at Oklahoma. And he needs to leave this winter and go somewhere else, if he can even have another year of eligibility. But, yeah, need a run-heavy game. In the gauntlet, again, Ole Miss was the start of the gauntlet, but it continues because, remember, we go to Tennessee this week. We have a bye week next week. Then at Alabama and Tuscaloosa. To close out the year, Missouri at home, LSU at home. Missouri, Bo Perbula going down, depends on what his situation is. I think that if he doesn't play against us, which I don't know why he wouldn't. I don't know what's going on with him just yet. But assuming Bo Perbula is out versus Oklahoma, I feel a bit better about that. LSU, if the offense is as flaky and weird as it has been 2 of the last 3 games, we could lose that. But we need to go no worse than 2-2 to close out the stretch. We have to win at least 2 of these, ideally 3. We have to. Because right now, I'm not thinking about the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we need to survive the rest of this season and learn from it. We've got to beat Missouri and LSU at home without a doubt. We have to finish at home. We have to have just the one loss at home from Ole Miss on the season. We can't afford to lose to Missouri and LSU because I think Alabama's going to cook us, and I think Tennessee at their home field has a pretty solid shot to do it. Absolutely. If you ask me right now, I'm picking Tennessee. But we will get into more specific rationale on picks on Wacko Preview on Friday. But we've got to beat Mizzou and LSU at home. There's no other option. And furthermore, Mateer is not going to go to the NFL next year. I don't think so. I think we will see him, unless, it continues to crash and burn and get really bad throughout the last 4 games of the year. I think we will have Mateer back next year, and we will have Bo Bentley waiting in the wings for 2027. So spend the rest of this season winning games or going out and playing to win games. Solidify your identity on the offense. Get Fasusi and Foje ready for next year. Get the O-line to a better, solid place. Make sure that Torrey and X keep improving. Get the wide receivers to keep going hard, because we have to say goodbye to Deion Burks and Keontez Lewis after this season. Fix Mateer's mechanics. Get him to throw on a better platform, get him to throw at a better angle, fix his inaccuracies, slow down his mind. Yeah, use the rest of the season to further solidify your identity on both sides of the ball. Heavy SEC caliber run game, solid pass game that can supplement it and continue to get better on the defense. That is what the goal for the rest of the year needs to be. Go out 2-2, 3-1 to close out the stretch. That's all I'm asking. And Ben Arbuckle, please abandon your short-term amnesia about the run game, because that was terrible to watch. That hurt so much, and I was getting frustrated. Ask any of the random people that were standing next to me in the student section at Memorial Stadium on Saturday. They'll tell you, yeah, this guy was yelling about a run game all day. Well, Sooner Nation, that's going to wrap it for this edition of the Wacko Review Podcast, where we break down all things OU football every Monday after the weekend. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. Remember, you can go follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners for live news updates, game highlights, and of course a few memes and reels to keep it fun and lighthearted, like we try to keep it here in Sooner Nation. I know that's going to be hard this week after the loss to Ole Miss, but on to the next one. At Tennessee next Saturday, or this Saturday, I should say, 6:30 Central Time kickoff. That being said, Sooner Nation, Boomer Sooner.